Yeah, this is Bang Bang Rahil. Please press the like button and subscribe. Yeah, rugby. I used to love rugby in prison, yeah. That was the greatest sport that I've ever been into, is rugby, yeah. And it all started, my rugby games in my YP, my Aylesbury YP, were all testosterone up, all strong, you know what I mean? Really, really strong. And I got on the powerlifting team, yeah, on the big powerlifting team. And I was squatting, not a lot of weight, maybe 480, squats, benching, great big weights, deadlifting. That's the biggest deadlift I've ever done, 795, yeah. But I had some big guys in the gym with me, yeah. And we got into the rugby. Rugby was F&G ring and the main prison, yeah. And over the back was a big field with a rugby posts up, yeah. But being as a YP, there was no really security fences around Aylesbury YP when I was there. There was no security system at all, yeah. Anyway, so most of the guys that played rugby were lifers, you know, the lifers on F&G ring, and there were some good guys from Birmingham and some good guys from Twickenham, that area, who bashed up a rapist on the common, yeah, on one of the commons in Twickenham, bashed up this rapist really bad. This guy was mucking about with people in the toilets, and these kids got together, and when he come out, they took him somewhere in his woods, and then smashed him to pieces. They battered him so bad that they reckon they couldn't even recognise his face. And these young kids got HMP. I think there's about 8 or 9 of them got HMP, but these kids were game. Yeah, there's a little gang of them, and they were so, I mean, really, they were so game in there. They was like stickers. If you bashed up one, you'd have to have a fight with a lot of them. And I was on F-wing, and they was on F-wing with me, yeah. But they was stickers. Any trouble, they was always together. But there was a 4 in there that played rugby, right? And these 4, and they was like big lumps, mate, big lumps, yeah. And we got a team from the prison and a team from F&G ring, which is the smaller prison to the big one, yeah. And we smashed them to pieces. We smashed them. I had 4 guys in the powerlifting team that also played rugby, and one of them, this guy from Portsmouth, this guy's name, man, Gary, I always remember his name. His first name was Gary, yeah. He had these legs. He had these massive legs. He could have broke any record for squats. His legs were huge, but he was small, very stocky. When I say small, 5'8", you know, but stocky, big neck. He had a big lump come out of his back of his neck, yeah. And this guy could squat 560, 580, easy for reps, yeah. And we put him in the pack, and he was a prop. And this guy, mate, he could push, and he used to turn the pack round. He used to turn the other pack round, you know what I mean? And yeah, we loved him, man. Gary, what was his name? Gary. I'll get it, we'll get it, yeah. And there was about 4, Taffy Peace, Malcolm Peace. A lot of people know Malcolm Peace in Wales. Listen, Malcolm Peace, yeah. I mean, he's in my book with Street Fighters, and I only found him a long time ago. And Malcolm Peace, he was, I've got to say, personally, I think he could have beat any fighter that you name, yeah? Any fighter you name in the unlicensed fights. I think he was about maybe light heavyweight. His brother's a good pro. He was a professional fighter, I think. But I know his brother's a professional fighter. And his name was Malcolm Peace. And he could really have it, mate. And he could really have it. And he was like with me. I was a prop with Gary, this big guy, Gary. I was quite big then in the powerlifting team. And when he used to push it round. And Gary Peace, mate, listen, he was a fantastic player. He could have played professional rugby player. He was brilliant. And when he got that ball, he used to bop chin people, knock them bark out. Gary Peace, please check it, yeah, on my book called Street Fighters. I've told you before, go and check it. Malcolm Peace, yeah, Peace, I think it is, Peace, yeah. And this guy can have a row. I only found him in my book when someone on Facebook said that Taffy Peace, he was the hardest guy I ever met in Wales. He is the governor, and he said he used to knock out everybody. He's my pal. Me and Taffy go back a long way. He was my mate when I was in my Aylesbury, and he really could have it. I mean, we all got on the powerlifting team, yeah, and we won the Southern Area and inter-prison championships. We got cups and medals and all that, yeah. We were so powerful, mate. As kids, mate. Powerful, not 19, 18, 19, 20. Powerful kids. Well, kids are powerful, aren't they? And the testosterone is unbelievable in your body then, you know. And all the time, we used to walk about looking for trouble. And I remember this time, we played against the football team on the big prison. We played on the red guy, yeah. And this team was a bit lively, and they had a bodybuilder on the team. I'll never forget this geezer. He was about 20. He was perfect shape. This guy come from up north, come from Aylesbury, perfect shape, brilliant shape, powerful looking, yeah. And Taffy Peace, it was so funny, but Taffy was quite greedy with the ball. He'd want to be with the ball all the time. And I see this geezer, I see Taffy Peace with this geezer tackling. This geezer was getting too Larry Taffy. He went, bang! He hit this geezer on the chin. I swear to God, if he ain't broke that geezer's chin, it's a miracle. His chin hit his ear hole, you know what I mean? Bang! And Taffy got sent off. He could never play football again with us. But he always played rugby with us. But he loved to bang. He had to bang. And we had a PTI called Jack Dyer, yeah, Mr. Dyer, Jack Dyer. He was the only chief PTI in all prisons, yeah, in England. He was the only Chief Dyer. And he used to got a thing about vests and skins. Freezing cold weather, absolutely freezing cold. One would put a vest on and one would have skins. So you have nothing on one side, skins, and everybody wanted to put a vest on, you know, skins out, vest on. And I swear to God, right, this old boy, he was an old boy, he could really play football, right? And this is what I'm saying about Taffy Peace, Malcolm Peace, right? He could have it, right? And I swear to God, how he never got nicked, how he ever not got nicked is unbelievable. The PR, the chief, yeah? He's hit the chief under the belly as he come by him with the ball, whoop, underneath, mate. He nearly killed Jack Dyer, yeah? He nearly the Chief Dyer, he nearly killed the old boy, you know, whoop, underneath. But it was so quick, it was so good the way he done it, yeah. And I remember Jack Dyer's laying on the floor and all the screws come out around him. And Taffy said he made a mistake with his elbow, but it was, you could see what it was. It was a left uppercut, whoop, he hit him right, and down he goes. But I think it's because he didn't really like him. As I've told you before, there should be a swimming pool around it in F&G Ring in my YP, yeah. And when we used to play football, most times we used to play when we was there. A lot of in the winter, it was like the pool was always icy, but very thin ice, not big ice, thin ice. But you have to jump in there and break all the ice, you know, and swim in it, you know, and get it. I mean, and no one had nothing on. You always had shorts all off. Everybody and I had a little thing floating about. And he had this black guy called Nugent, this big black guy, and he had one down to his kneecaps. It was like, doesn't matter how cold it was still down to his kneecaps. Oh, Nugent, he used to love it, yeah. And I remember Taffy, Malcolm Peace said to the PO, he can't jump in the water because he give him an heart attack. That's why when we were playing football that he give the Chief Dyer Jack. There must be people in there that was in my YP that remember that, yeah. But he hit Jack Dyer because that's why he done it, because Jack Dyer made him get in the water, made him jump in the water, and it was absolutely freezing, and you had to swim to the other side. And you had to break the ice. As you're swimming, you break the ice because the ice was really, really thin. But you can imagine how freezing cold it was as kids. and everybody hated it. We had to run back in the ring with nothing on, and run into the showers and get in the shower, yeah. But you can imagine everybody running around naked, little willies floating about, swinging about either side. But as I said, the only one was Nugent. He had one down at his kneecaps. He never shrunk at all. It was always that big. Everybody had to jump with Nugent. But I loved my rugby. And when I left there and got myself in more trouble, wound up in Chelmsford prison. And Chelmsford had one of the best rugby teams. That really they was just so good. I mean, Mickey Blackmore. Was a fantastic. What's he call it? Manly. He was like the top trainer there, Mickey Blackmore rugby. Yeah, and he was so good. I mean, he was so good at it, you know, and like everybody loved him, very strict, and he could never work around Mickey Blackmore, you know what I mean? He got shot in Holland. My father-in-law was with him when he got shot, but that's beside the point. I'm talking about Chelmsford prison. And yeah, he taught us a lot, you know. We used to learn it, because he was a fantastic rugby player, Mickey Blackmore. And he taught us a lot, how to play it properly, you know, in the scrums and all this, that and the other. And what we used to like, and he used to say to us, any time we play a team that are a bit because there was, there's quite a few teams a lot of police teams come in there, quite a few army teams come in there. You had the Saracens come in there, you had London Irish come in there, you had the Wasps come in there. There was all second teams, you know. Their second teams, even their third teams, you know, would come in, and some would get a bit leery. I mean, as I said before, the hardest team I've ever seen is Gray's Inn. I thought it was called Graves Inn, and there was all barristers and solicitors and all them sort of things, and they knocked all my teeth out. When he kicked the ball into the pack, I got it. As I turned around, one come over to me. I don't know if he nutted me, punched me, or what he did, but he knocked all my teeth out and he smashed all my gums to pieces. But you can see scars all over my gums, yeah. And yeah, he knocked all my teeth out, this guy, you know. And I still played rugby, and my mouth bleeding, I still played. But this guy got smashed to pieces. I mean, he did get smashed to pieces and really, really hurt. My mate Peter Lyons, people might know Peter Lyons. Big guy, Peter Lyons, a good rugby player. Fantastic rugby player, big legs. He was second row. I was prop. Who was the other side prop? I forget the other side prop in. There's Garth, a black guy called Garth. Garth, mate. When we was in Chelmsford together, Garth used to do powerlifting with me on the stage, yeah. And Garth he had a fantastic squat. He was really good squatter, you know, really, really good. And I was really good at benching. I mean, I could bench nearly 4 plates, you know. 4 plates is what, 360, 370, something like that, yeah. And I was really, really strong on the what you call it, bench pressing, you know, really good. And he was a fantastic squatter, and he was very good at deadlifting. I mean, as I told you, my deadlift was 795, but in Chelmsford it got even better. We didn't do much. I didn't do much competition lifting in there because my squat was not good enough for the competitions, because all them was big squats. But I had a powerful deadlift. I didn't want to do no lifting for the neck. I used to do lots of stiff-legged deadlift. I used to do stiff-legged deadlift off blocks. I made these blocks up. Yeah, a lot of people do it now. I made these blocks up where you could stand on them and pick up the weight from the floor. And I was very strong at stiff-legged deadlifts. You know, bend your legs to pick the bar up. Once you picked it up, you go straight down to the floor. So you're on the blocks, yeah. So it goes a lot further down. Deadlifts, I was strong, really, really strong. And there was a guy called Mickey Francis. Mickey Francis, not the same Mickey Francis as in Albany. There's other Mickey Francis, and he had a body like a god. He was a traveller. But he didn't live in a caravan, he lived in a house, yeah? And this guy was crisp, mate. His body was cut to and it just ripped to pieces, ripped and strong. Poor, this guy could curl. He could curl 120 kilo, easy, for sets of 5, sets of 6 in an Olympic bar. He was powerful. He had big, massive great pecs, and his deltoids, his front deltoids are huge. Yeah, and when I say he could curl, and the what you call a gastrocnemius, the gastrocnemius at the front, his front gastrocnemius muscles were huge, like big bulging out. Yeah, he was so powerful, mate. He was unbelievable powerful. Garth, as I said, Garth was a very good squatter and a very good deadlifter. He isn't very good at benching, but they had a good team. They had a guy in there. He was Greek. This guy, man, I forget his name, but this guy, he was a fantastic all-rounder, fantastic squatter, fantastic bencher, and fantastic deadlift. He was good, mate. His totals were always big totals, And there's a few that on the stage with me. I sort of like didn't invent it. It's something that maybe other people did. But I invented the blocks, these blocks, yeah. You put these blocks are about 10 inches wide by about, 8 inches deep, and you put them together, and they're about, and you put on the chest, and people come down when they're doing the benches, touch it, bump, just touch it, bump, and you can put maybe another 20 kilo on, 30 kilo on your bar, yeah. It's a lot, and I used to incline ridiculous weights on it with the blocks, yeah. 180 kilos on about 4 plates each side, yeah. I could incline that easy with the blocks on my chest, yeah. If I had blocks on my chest, I could easily do bosh, and I was so powerful on the top of my pecs, and my deltoids, my front deltoids was huge, really big. I didn't do a lot of back workout. Only back workout I've done was my deadlifting, my stiff level deadlifting. I didn't do no pull downs for my lats, yeah. But obviously your lats get quite big from the deadlifting and from your stiff legged deadlifts. Some good powerful people in Chelmsford. I mean, I also used to see young Jimmy Tibbs, the old man. Listen, let me tell you something. Big Jimmy Tibbs, the old man, right? He was as big as an house. I see him the first day coming to the gym, training down the bottom with his son Jimmy Tibbs, yeah, the other one, and he was benching 100 kilos. The first time that he ever lift weights, he was benching 100. He was so, that's ridiculous, because he worked as a porter in the meat market. Was it Billingsgate? Was it Billingsgate? Something. He was all big lumps of lamb and beef and all that to pick about. He was massive shoulders. He was so powerful. This guy was powerful man. Yeah, Jimmy Tibbs and young Jimmy. I used to see young Jimmy. I forget I'm not quite sure if there was a bag in Chelmsford Prison. I know there was a bag in Albany when I was there, but there wasn't a bag in Chelmsford Prison. But I used to see Jimmy Tibbs, yeah, run around shadow boxing, and he was fit, mate. He used to run around the green in Chelmsford Prison all day. When I say all day, I mean, it would say you're out for 2 hours, he'd run solid for 2 hours and run. He had fantastic abs. His abs were massive, mate, and he was a really good trainer. He played rugby with us also. He didn't play a lot of rugby. The old man never played rugby, but the team we had, we had a the team we had was just unbelievable. If you've got to just think that you're playing teams like Saracens, Wasps, all them sort of teams, London Irish, London Welsh, and you're playing them teams, you are good. And then when I used to come over, and after the end, we used to clap. We won most of our matches, and when you're clapping everybody in, they're walking in, and vice versa when you're walking in, yeah. And they'd come up to me and they'd say, Listen, mate, when you get out, come and see us. Wasps, I remember Wasps, yeah? They used to train in Acton, in this big, what is it called now? Old Actonians grounds, Old Actonian grounds. Used to train in there, in Boller Bridge Road, Boller Lane, in Boller Lane. And they said to me, when you get out, come and look at us, yeah? You can play for us. We'd love you to play for us, you know? But like an idiot, I didn't. I was a fool because I was good. I was a fantastic rugby player, mate. I was really, really good. And then they moved to Kew, and I went over to see him in Kew. I was sitting down, like, come over there, sit down, have something to eat, watch them play, and I was gutted. You know what I mean? Because I knew that I could be a good professional player. You know what I mean? I was a good player, mate. I was a good player. You know, really, really good. I mean, it's not rugby's a man's game, but rugby, believe it or not, is a very middle class people, very upper. You know, like they're very all these public school boys. They're rugby players. You don't get a lot of rugby players go to our sort of schools. Yeah, our sort of schools are crazy footballers. You know, mad football players. But them public school boys are all rugby players. Don't underestimate these people, these public school boys, because they're a bit near the mark. You know, they're a bit hard. As you say, when you've played rugby with these people and how hard they can be, as I say, I knocked all my teeth out, one of them, and you know, I'll never forget that, what he done to me. And Mickey Blackmore and Peter Lyons teamed up together to get the one that done me, that smashed my teeth out. I mean, I'd have done it myself, but I was all smashed to pieces anyway. But as I say, Mickey Blackmore and Peter Lyons went right into it. There was a guy in there called Clarence Carr, yeah? There's got to be people out there who are watching my podcast that was in Chelmsford prison playing rugby with me, yeah? Clarence Carr, black guy, yeah? I swear to God, yeah? He could have played in any first team. As a winger, he was so fast, you couldn't catch him. He could stop in a second and change his direction. And no one could catch him. And if anybody did, I mean, it's like when you play rugby, right? When you play rugby, everybody wants to bash up and stop the one that causes is the aggravation. And he was the aggravation of our team. If he got the ball, mate, on the wing, you couldn't never catch him. You know what I mean? And if they did, they steamed into him. So if they steamed into him, we steam into them. What I loved about rugby in prison, yeah, especially in Chelmsford prison, right? Because I was a prop, yeah, and I was get down. As I get down and bang, I'd be in the chin. As I get down, boom. Right, always give him it. I'd always smash him in the mate, yeah, jaws, smash him in the jaws, yeah, always, and I'd always get in there with a nut, you know, always cut their eyes. I used to get my cut. Well, of course I used to get my eyes cut. Of course I used to get smashed to pieces. That was just the same as me, what I do to them. Of course, standards, but that's what it was all about. I remember when you got off the rugby field, yeah, it's not the greatest feeling in the world, walking through these people and all clapping you. And all talking to you, say that they want you to come to them when you get out and play for their team, yeah? But I could afford I didn't. Chelmsford prison, without a shadow of doubt, is the best prison I've ever been to. I mean, the people in there were fantastic. Everybody in there was fantastic. He was funny, Ronnie Bender. I mean, Ronnie Bender, he played rugby with us a couple of times. But he used to say his leg, he fucked his leg up, he couldn't play properly because of his leg, getting bashed in the leg. And they called him the captain. He was the captain because he was the captain of the football team, and he tried to be the captain of the rugby team. But Mickey was the best, yeah. Mickey Blackmore. Mickey Blackmore was the best. And who was the other one? Roy Atkins. Roy Atkins, mate. What a short, stocky, thick legs, never went to the gym much, didn't do many squats, but powerful legs. He was one of the he also become his name is what's he call it, Mickey Blackmore, and he also become a fantastic manager, not a manager, a trainer. I liked him, mate. He was nice, and they've done the same with him when he went over to Spain, I think it was, or Holland. They topped him as well, yeah. They killed him as well. So, rest in peace, Mjong Waka. You know what I mean? And he was proper guy, mate. Proper guy. But Mickey Blackmore, I loved him to death. You know what I mean? It's a shame what happens to some of these people, some of the faces that you meet in prison, and the way they get. I mean, who was Kenny Beagle? Fucking hell. Kenny Beagle, I mean, Ginger Kenny Beagle, I mean, I only just found out, that he was a hitman. He was one of the top hitmen. He was doing a big sentence when I was in Chelmsford prison with him. I was in the scrubs at first with him when he got me on the powerlifting. He was fantastic at doing the Olympic liftings. He had a proper body, but he was a good rugby player, mate. He was crisp. The body he had on was really hard, solid, and he could squat big weights. Kenny Beagle, and I mean he was a good rugby player. But I was told that they chopped him in a car park. They plotted up on him and chopped him in a car park because he was a professional hitman, yeah. Kenny Beagle. There were people tell me, people did tell me before that he was a professional hitman, Kenny Beagle. But I like Ken. He didn't stand no shit from anybody. He was quiet, very quiet, walked funny, walked like a quarter freeze, walked at a quarter freeze, and he was very flat-footed. But you feel that something ain't right about him, like you feel there's a bit of danger in him. And he was like, when he walked down the landing with his food and all that game, you could see it was power in him, You could see. I've never seen anybody really upset him as such, yeah? He had that thing about him, that look about him, that aura about him, You knew that if you argued with this geezer, you was going to be in trouble. And to find out later on in life that he was a top hitman, and me and Ken got on really well, me and Kenny Beagle. I like Ken. I mean, there's people out there on podcasts that I've never ever heard of these people, I shouldn't think. But it's nice to have been in prison with them people. And so I learned a lot from them people. You can learn a hell of a lot from people like that, and it's nice. And it's nice to go back, and look at them people and think, I learned that from them, yeah. And that they learnt me a lot. My mate Togi Ludlow, Togi, how you going, mate? You must be watching my podcast. He was dangerous, Togi. I mean, he's very. I've been trying to get I think his sister or his daughter got hold of me and said that he'd like to talk to me, but I did give him my number. I told him to phone me. Togi Ludlow, he was very dangerous. Togi, he would cut your fucking tongue out of your mouth in seconds. Togi. He used to knock about with some people that are really dangerous in there. Mickey Blackmore loved him. Mickey Blackmore loved Togi. They was more or less the same. Mickey Blackmore was a very dangerous man, but I did respect him big time. Roy Atkins, Roy wasn't there very long when I was there. I got to know Roy. Roy didn't stand shit for no one. Roy would fight any man. Roy Atkins would fight any man. Any man. Yeah, I mean, I'll see him in there fight up any man in there that give him any grief, he would fight. Don't matter who you are. He was short, stocky guy, but proper. He was the same, proper hitman. Dangerous guy, Mickey Blackmore, proper hitman. Dangerous people. Don't muck with them people, mate. You don't muck about with them people. A big respect for Mickey Blackmore and big respect for Roy Atkins and Kenny Beagle. Big respect. Terry Millman. I like Terry. I mean, Terry Millman was the best painter I've ever seen in my life, mate. Painting pictures. I mean, he painted a picture of what was in a cell, him and Lou Swallow. They painted a picture that was as big as a cell wall, yeah? But they couldn't get it out. I mean, I think they did in the end. They did, obviously, I think through the door or whatever, how he got it out, I don't know. Maybe took part of the door off to get it out. It was a picture of faces, yeah? But all the pictures was other things like horses and things like that, and someone sitting there, all faces. Everything was done by faces, and it was absolutely beautiful. Who else? There was others. Who was the other two There was what is it? There was two brothers in there. Oh bloody hell! They come from Labbot Grove. They got their own studios out there. What was their names? The Morey brothers from Labbot Grove. Anybody know them? Morey's, mate. Paint. They could paint anything. They was fantastic painters. In prison, mate, in them days, you had people that could paint pictures, fantastic painters, people that could play guitars and things like that, you know what I mean? There was a guy in there called Joe Lott, yeah? I get all his names to come back to me. Joe Lott, ginger fella, big guy, big chested guy, you know, and he could sing. He used to sing, "You want to go to heaven for the weekend," and it's just, I want to go to heaven to see my mother in heaven in the weekend, yeah. But he used to sing this song, and his tears come down your eyes, you know what I mean? tears come down your eyes. Joe Lott, mate. I wish Joe Lott would get onto my podcast. You know, good fella. It was with another ginger guy. There, the ginger guys see my tattoos on my hands and said, them tattoos belong to a big company, and he given the company's name. I said, no, ain't them. And you know, he kept well a distance from me. Who else? There was a lot of people in Chelmsford prison, mate. As I say, I've told you loads of people that was in it before, and I've got stories about Chelmsford prison that what it is, I sit down and I go through other people's podcasts, listen to their podcasts, and all of a sudden they might say a name, and I think, oh my God, Chelmsford prison, you know what I mean? And you know, I love Chelmsford prison. As a prison, that was the best prison that I've ever been to in my life. That was a prison you could do whatever you like to do. I mean, I've had a couple of screws on my podcast saying it wouldn't happen. It did happen. They wasn't even there. You know, that couldn't happen in prison. It couldn't happen, but it did. It did. Chelmsford prison just let you get on with your bird, let you do your own sentence, and you could get whatever you want as far as you could. The only thing I never see in there was a gun. A machine gun. Everything else, they had these things called zip guns with elastic bands and things that used to fire things at people, like staples and things. Wing, yeah, zip gun. You know, and like these things that, I mean, they had some fantastic things in there. They had some good people in there, lovely people. Chelmsford burnt down. I was gutted. It broke my heart because, as I said, being such a good prison and then going to a crap prison after that. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Radio. Please press the like button and subscribe. I've got big stories about Chelmsford prison. I haven't really told too much about it. I have said a lot of things, other things, you know, George Wilkinson and all that things. The guy that who was on a book called Fighting for Your Life. There's a big story about George Wilkinson. I want people out there, yeah, to go out and buy a book called Fighting for Your Life, yeah. And it's all about a guy, it's about people in prison that have been killed, murdered, yeah. And George Wilkinson is one of them. And George Wilkinson I looked after in Chelmsford prison, yeah. And George Wilkinson, all we wanted to do was see his poor old mum, yeah. Anyway, Bang Bang Radio, please press the like button and subscribe. Nice one, take care, nice one.